following is a presentation of MRE UNO, Division 1.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here as we continue to wrap up T3 here for Movie May in the 2025 MRE UNO tournament here this afternoon, getting ready to run a makeup game here as we have Background taking on Radin in the Slushie region. Both these individuals pretty similar in what occurred for them back in T2. Background very strong in the rookie class. Radin as well, both able to advance into the round of 32 before being eliminated by Cesar and Ed respectively. They look to bounce back here, move on from the Slapstick 64 into the round of 32 here in Movie May. Mentioned about the fact that pretty similar for both of them in T2, but take a look at the records coming into this one, and things a little bit on the side of Background, the higher seed as well. Obviously, you can see as well a major difference between the two of them in where they finished 1 year ago here in this tournament, though granted, being a part of the rookie class here in 2025, Background was in D2 at that point in time, but we'll have to see how these two fare against each other. And going to be a tough task for whoever ends up moving on here into the Thriller 32, because they're going to have to take on Mac Johnson, who was able to topple in an incredible 15-2 seed upset one of the best players in this league in Ashley. Mac Johnson awaits the winner of this one. And of course, you see down on the bottom side of the Slushie region, Lane Sanders and Hockey, they've already moved on here to the Thriller 32. This is going to be one of two streams that will be taking place here this afternoon. We'll have another makeup stream later on at 3 as the 2-seed Vapor takes on the 15-seed M. Later on tonight as well, Stingray and Sean aren't. They're going to be facing off in the Popcorn region at 7:30, but that game will not be streamed. So I believe these are the last 3 games that we have to wrap up here before we're going to know all the individuals that are moving on to the round of Thriller 32 here for T3. As we head down to the table, we mentioned about the fact that Radin got eliminated back in T2 in that round of 32 by Ed, and Ed joins me here on commentary here for this afternoon's game. Cesar, our ref, and Ed, what do we see here today? Do we see conflicting styles of play, or like we've seen for a good portion here of Movie May, are we going to see similar styles of play, and really it comes down to making sure that you stick to your game plan, don't necessarily have that mirror effect on the other side throw you off of your original plan?
Yeah, I think we got 2 rookies here who are trying to make things happen. They both made it to the round of 32, but I think they're trying to make it farther. But first, you got to make it out of the round of 64. So one of these guys is going to go home and with another round of 64 loss, and another one's going to move on. So I think this is going to be a pretty telling game to see who's going to be looking stronger this season.
Well, Background, you had a strong showing in the rookie class, as mentioned, back in T2. Ended up falling to Cesar, not able to advance out of that second round. But coming into this one here, advancing from D2, have made quite a name for yourself here since you were moved up to D1. What are we looking for here in terms of maybe some differences that we see out of your style of gameplay from the previous tournament now to this one, or do you stick to what you know? And for Radin, question for you. Obviously, as we mentioned, this is a makeup game. You're going to be starting one game behind here to kick off this series of the best of seven. So how do you kind of put that aside and not really think about the fact that you're one game behind here to be able to run the table, maybe be able to take this thing 4-1, advance into the next round as well? I believe both of the individuals are typing out their answers here this afternoon for this one. So, and another thing here too, you know, obviously as we mentioned, this is a makeup game, and Radin will be starting this game one game back from background. If your background here, does being up one, because we talk about usually when we get into games 3, 4, 5 in a best of 7 series, we talk about that crucial power play. Does this give background a little bit of fluctuation as to when to use that power play? And do you think that this, on the flip side for Radin, makes him have to maybe consider that power play in the early going to draw this series back even?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Radin, starting off with the disadvantage, might be looking to use that power play a little bit earlier just to level out the field again. Meanwhile, background, I think he's probably gonna be playing a little bit more conservatively at first, since he has that one game lead, and probably gonna save that power play for a little later, is what I'm thinking.
Background says, depends on the cards he gets, sees what happens, fully prepared to lose in 5. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a 4-1 victory, Cesar over Background back in the Automotive May in that round of 32. Radin says, definitely a real difficult game. Background only recently came in, but his performance in the finals was magic. Try his best to keep up. And yet, he's referring, of course, to the finals of D2. Very strong there, that advanced him up here into D1. Oh, it was 4-3. Okay, so I guess it was 4-1 was the Ed Radin game. I got those two flipped around here on my stat sheet. So we'll see. We'll see if we go into that game 7 here. Both individuals have been there before in the elongated series, and if we end up coming down to crucial games 6 or into that best of 7 matchup, who is going to be able to move on to face off against Mac Johnson. Well, Background coming in with the highest seed, so he gets home field advantage to kick this thing off. And so, Background, I'll turn it over to you, Cesar, our referee here this afternoon. What are we starting with? Look at that, Classic 7 to kick off here what will end up being technically game 2, I believe, if I'm correct in this here, of this series, with game 1 already decided in favor of Background.
All right, going with that lower card star. We'll see how he's taking a little bit of a gamble here with that low card star. We'll see how it goes.
Background said, depends on the cards he gets, and normally you run that lower card start. You're relying more than likely more on number efficiency than you are on ammunition. You can get lucky. You could get a card or two in ammunition that can help you chain a run together, but usually if you're looking for that ammo, you're up in the double digits. So yeah, to your point there, Ed, maybe looking more for a number efficiency game here. And you gotta wonder too, if we were coming into this game 0-0, if it would have been originally 7 cards to call here for Background. Maybe being up 1-0 gives him a little bit of freedom as well to go in that lower tier.
Yeah, and we already see background character going over, getting a little bit of a small lead here, taking those skips into the yellow, but Radin goes right back to red, and Radin has to draw. I mean, character has to draw there. He didn't expect the red again.
Iced out on the red, and Background said he will always start at 7, so keep that in the back of my mind if indeed we end up seeing Background move on here in this round, or of course in T4. That's still iced out. We're both actually iced out here in the red. Radin's going to open up the door, though, swapping it over. Light switch into the green.
Into the green we go. Still have blue on the table. Playing it relatively cool for now. I don't know if they have a ton of ammo. We might see some more drawing here shortly. Or not.
Yet
A
to
little bit of
see.
a lead here for Radin.
Yeah, a little double play. Draws Background back by 2 cards. We'll see what the return is, as Background will continue to run the green. Radin down to 2. And iced out on the green, one would have to assume it's the blue, right? We haven't gone into blue yet. We're waiting to see who dips their toe into the water there and swaps over to that color that more than likely both need. Of course, with the +2 return, back row might be able to run in green for a bit more. Oh, never mind. The swap over to yellow.
Interesting. I wonder if maybe Radin has another yellow that he's going to try and work towards, but let's see how background character can respond here.
Either that was a top deck there, a lucky top deck for Radin, or he swapped quickly over to the red to ice out background, but still had yellow in reserve, as now he'll bring it back over to red. One would have to assume that might have been one of the two cards there from that +2 double play, and now background brings it back over to green. At check, I believe. Oh no, that's a reverse draw. Oh, that might be
Leaving it open. Oh, wow.
That's it. That's got to be it right there. Made sure that he called out the Uno, did background, blue 9, closes it out. Game 2 going to go to background. He'll go up 2-0.
Great start for background there. He's up 2-0 now. I think that penalty against Radin really affected him here, but hey, it's not over yet.
And I was just going to ask background, and he just answered it right there. I wondered if that +4 we were talking about there, that we didn't really see a whole lot of ammo being played, and that +4 for the kill shot was indeed the return on that +2. Should start appreciating the +2s more. We've seen that a lot here, Ed, where people will play those +2s, and it's great to be able to draw somebody back, as both of them were close to check there twice on each side in this matchup. It draws you back away from Uno, but at the same time, you have to have in the back of your head, what am I giving to the other side in terms of those return cards?
Yeah, it's just kind of a risky play sometimes when you give them a ton of ammo. You just got to be mindful of what cards you're giving them, because you can be giving them game-winning cards possibly. So you just got to be mindful of that.
A background, you go up 2-0 here. You mentioned about the fact you will always go with 7 cards, and it worked out here in terms of the number efficiency. It's interesting, we ended up seeing that blue ended up kind of being the deciding factor to close this thing out, but both of you very good in establishing the color swaps on the number efficiency here. Obviously, we're talking about, before we ended up starting this matchup, you know, the differing or the similarity of styles of play. Almost looks like we're seeing a lot of similar styles of play. So, you know, going up 2-0, but with seeing what you saw there in game 1, how competitive do you think it's going to be here for you to try and continue this run, continue to lock Radin out here as the series goes on? And for you, Radin, you know, you said you forget about the fact that you were down by 1. Now you're down by 2. What do we do in this situation here now? Because I asked Ed this question, I'll ask you as the player as well. You've got that power play available to be able to draw this series closer, if not draw it back even, if you're able to take this crucial upcoming Game 3. Is that something you're considering, or are you more so thinking of maybe establishing, once you end up having those home games, getting the number of card start that you want, still keeping that power play available if you're able to draw this thing into a late series? And as both of them are typing out their answers here, yeah, we had background say that he will always start with 7 cards. Now it'll be interesting to see if he changes it up here a little bit. Obviously, he won't be able to take 7 cards here, having won this previous game. But does he stay in the low tier? Does he go to the upper tier? As background says, his hand was pretty bad. Then he swapped, or when he swapped back to red initially, and he pretty much got bailed out with good draws, and Radin not changing to 5. And yeah, we saw background was a little bit on the back foot there to start it out when Radin had him iced out on red, but a little lucky there in some of those draws on both sides to both be able to get down to eventually check, and then background able to close the deal out. Radin says, I think when he's on the home ground, he does better because he knows what to do with his usual amount of cards, so he thinks he has a chance. Pretty thin, though. We'll have to see. We've seen stranger things happen. As mentioned, the individual that whoever the winner of this matchup is going up against in the next round, in the round of 32, is facing off against Mac Johnson, who was able to topple Ashley. So we've seen a lot of different things happen here. We've also seen a number of individuals that started off T1 and T2 at an 0-2 deficit coming here into T3 be able to snap some winless streaks and move on. So we talk about unpredictability. We've definitely had it here in Movie May. All right, so home field advantage, I believe, still stays with background here in this upcoming second game. And there you go. Immediately, he's going to go 1 up to 8. So stays still in that lower tier range there, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, it's working for him so far. So, hey, might as well go with it again, I think.
So very little ammunition played in that first game. We had a 1-2 punch with a reverse for Radin. We had a couple of 1-2 punches with some +2s, and then of course the kill shot with the +4. We'll see on the initial return here, the initial draw, what ammunition might be able to be utilized. We didn't run hardly at all in blue except for the wild +4 into the final blue card played, and we'll start in blue here for game 2.
Yeah, starting blue here. Background taking that early draw. Maybe he had the card, but maybe you just want to add a little more to his deck. Which I don't mind that move if that's what's going on. But maybe it kind of looks like he's iced out here on blue right away.
Wow. That is shocking right out of the gate there. That's sometimes the risk that you run. A lot of times you get down to that 5, 6, 7, 8 card start. You might end up having just 2 colors to begin this thing off with, as Radin will bail him out. He'll swap it over to green. Now we'll see if background will be able to start playing some here. Yeah, he'll be able to run in green now, but if you're background, you know Radin's going to have in the back of his mind, if there's any path to get it back over to blue and ice you out, he's probably going to utilize it.
Radin doing a lot of switches here. He's been very efficient. He's down to 4 cards now, but I think background's got some ammo saved up now, so that's going to draw him closer again.
Trips play there from background. Nearly draws him back even now. 6 card to 7 in favor of Radin. And of course, we saw Radin get bit on the +2 return with background getting the +4 in game 1. Now we'll have to see what happens here with the return. Yeah, answer right back. Quad play there, all in yellow. The +2 to the skip.
Power play.
Wow, power play. I was going to say, he would have had to have played the power play before he ended up playing that chain. So it does not count as a power play right now.
Well, we'll see what background does with that information now that he knows that he was trying to use that power play. He might want try and stop it.
Wonders if he should play the +4 that he has. I mean,
he's revealed that he has that.
Yeah.
I think he kind of has to here because I think that power play is going to lead to probably a win.
Yeah, if he doesn't play it here, or if he doesn't have another card that could draw Radin back, we know Radin's going to use the power play. The power play's still in there, so there it is. There's the +4. And he'll draw him back there. Costly mistake there by Radin. And he had an opportunity to be able to draw this back 2-1.
Background just bailed out there. I mean, yeah, he got a little lucky. So, hey, but they both they still got a decent amount of cards. It's not over yet for Radin, even with that mistake. So we'll see what happens here.
And background going to swap it over to the green. Utilizes a wild, regular wild, to do so. We ended up seeing, I believe it was Radin swapped off of the green to go to red earlier on. And now Radin with the power play. What did he get on the return for the +4? Does he have a finish here? No. Instead, just utilizes the power play to get it over to red.
See if that ends up working out for him. I don't know if I don't know how I feel about that. Just getting down to red. This doesn't really guarantee a win.
Nope.
But yeah, it's not even like a switch over to blue, which we know that. Well, background had been iced out before, but now he switched to blue, which I really didn't expect. So I don't know. I don't completely understand. Oh, he says screw it. I don't know.
Screw it.
See what he's got.
Does he have a finish with 3 cards here? Maybe. Maybe he had a +4. It didn't matter. Yeah, so I was wondering maybe he
No?
had a +4, but he's not going to have a finish. He'll get it to check instead.
See if background can do anything here. Maybe a color switch or something, but he
Oh,
switches it to green. We'll see if that works out.
oh boy. And it does. It ices out Radin.
Wow. Background coming in clutch there.
It's got to be smart here, though. Does background. 9 cards to Radin's 2. Radin could easily get it back to check. One would have to assume that that final card might have been in red, and now it's a moot point. Double stacks the 2s, brings it over back to blue, and now background takes the possession advantage.
There's that red. That could have been the finisher, but
Yep.
guess we won't know.
Little double play there from background, gets closer to that end zone. Radin continues to follow him in red. And background
Big
again,
switch to
aggressive.
yellow.
Yeah, aggressive with the color switches here is background. Firmly in control. Radin answers back, though.
Ooh. Will we get another switch, or are we going to roll with green for a little bit? We've been seeing a lot of switching this game. This game's been a little bit longer, so we kind of get to see a little bit more of the play style here rather than in the first game.
And I think that these light switches we're seeing here that swap particularly to green there for Radin, trying to find a color that can ice background out, draw him back at least almost even. Radin with 5 cards left, loading up. What does he have here? 2 cards remaining for background. Bear in mind as well, Radin has already used his power play. Background still has his available. There's the +4 shot to draw him back. Brings it over to yellow, and now Radin takes the possession advantage. Oh, and he picked the right color,
yellow.
too.
Wow,
look at that. Double shot.
Okay, Radin could maybe roll with this a little bit. We'll see.
Oh,
he gets a lucky green 3.
Yes, he
Wow.
does. Brings it back to the green, and now ices out Radin.
Wow. I wonder if that was a top deck 3 or from that draw of the +4, or if he just got that off. Yeah, man. Good number efficiency. Now we're in blue.
That might have been a top deck right there for Radin. Gets it over to blue. Background will run in that. 2 cards left for Radin. Can he get to check? Oh! He gets to check, but he had to draw with the blue skip.
Well, he's leaving the door open.
Yes, he is. What can background do with an open skip? He'll play a ditto blue skip. Double play with the blue 5. Oh, top deck draw.
Check again.
Blue 6 there for Radin. That check. Background with the power play.
Oh,
but he can't
he tried
utilize
to
it
use
because at Uno for Radin.
Oh, aggressive switch there.
I don't know if Radin has a finish. It'd have to be number efficiency here. Oh!
Wow.
He got the color swap he needed. Background swapped it to red. That was the final color needed for Radin. The early use of the power play not in vain. He will take the victory, and he will draw the series back up to 2-1. Now for both individuals here, some interesting utilization of the timing of the power play, not working out for either one. We saw Radin utilize the power play after the chain, the quad chain in yellow, middle of this game, and then background utilizing the power play just 1 turn too late with Radin at Uno. So, I guess maybe best case scenario for both of them here, Ed, the fact that he used his power play, got the win for Radin. He tried to use his power play, but still has it available if you're background.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen 2 failed power play attempts in one game, but Radin did get it off, and it didn't lead directly to the victory, but he still got the victory in this round, and background still got that power play in his pocket, and he still got the game advantage. So I think that's just good for him.
Now, a couple of the questions I was going to have that kind of already seemed to preempt me in answering it. I was going to ask background about the timing of that power play there, and he said, wanted to power play then win, but oh well, had a red +2, red reverse, and 0 after that, so he would have had a triple to finish it out, but he said he had to do it then in order to be able to, I guess, have that chain there. I guess the swap over, what was it, the swap over into the blue needed the power play then to be able to do it, and just unfortunate timing for him that Radin being down to one card. Radin says sometimes when you leave the door open, one can cross, but the door is not big enough for their belongings. So, yeah, like you said, that's the
Hmm.
first time for me as well, seeing two failed power plays. The timing of it, I mean, the idea definitely there made a lot of sense, but the timing of it for both the power plays not being able to be utilized at those specific points in time. But again, the good news there for Radin was he utilized the power play. It did get used, and he was able to come out with that victory. Would have been an entirely different story, I think, of us talking coming into this crucial game 4 if he had failed to win that game with the utilization of the power play. So
Hmm.
he at least has some life here, but he does not have the power play available while background still does. So the scoreboard would read 1-1 right now, but it is 2-1 in favor of background. Thing now is, though, we enter into the area that Radin was looking at where he's able to kind of establish more of a card start here with his first home stand. So Radin, what are we looking at here? Not able to use 8 cards. What are we looking at here for the upcoming 4th game?
Might be looking at double digits here for the first time. Yeah, there we go.
And we have Red in our watch party, and he said that it's actually happened twice to him where there's been
Hmm.
failed power plays during a game with Blake, 2 instances where he could have used the power play to win but didn't, and then Blake ended up having the finish. So, yeah, one of the things that we always seem to kind of drive home in these matchups is timing. And we saw right there a case of a little bit of mistime on both sides as we start with 11, a little bit higher than we've been. First time we've been in double digits. Well, we started in yellow and we're immediately going over to blue. These guys have been aggressive with the light switches here in these first couple of games.
Absolutely, we got another early light switch off to the that blue 0. That's my card right there, I will say, and already getting a little aggressive with some ammo here.
Double play there from background. Might be trying to establish the possession game early on. Ooh, iced out on the
Hmm.
blue here, but bailed by background, who'll swap it over to green.
Yeah, I got a couple draws in there, but background didn't take back too long to switch it back to another green. He's been going pretty crazy with these switches, and didn't work out incredibly well last round. But let's see, maybe he's trying to throw Radin off his game here with all these switches.
Said the blue ice is indeed cold, but it melted. The spring thaw, green grass emerges as we now run in the green. Double play there, +2 into the green 4 there for Radin. So draws background back. Background will be able to play in green. So 2-card advantage right now for background. And oh, the double play might have been
Mm.
his last green there for Radin. Now he gets bailed again. Second time he's been iced out, and background has given him a lane in that light switch.
Yeah, but you also got to wonder, maybe background would have also drawn too. Maybe he's running out of green too. So maybe they're just both running out of the same colors.
Could be very similar hands, you're right, in terms of the amount of cards they have in each respective color.
Hmm. Well,
Wait,
did he
is
just
this. Did
reveal
he just reveal
his
what his final card. Oh my gosh.
the well, all right.
There is
That
no
should be
way.
game.
This is gonna be game. Holy cow.
He gave us a little preview. I don't know if I've seen that before.
Probably see the red skip, then we see the yellow wild into the final yellow 5. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wow.
Three wild plus fours. Did he have that at the start? I'm wondering if he got that
That's what I was gonna ask. He did get hit with
off
a
the plus two.
+2, so did he have? He had
Yeah.
2 to start and got the third.
Okay,
Dang.
that's incredible.
That is nuts. Third was indeed from the +2. Well, incredible close there to this game here on the ammo. Background, I'll ask you first. I mean, obviously, you had those 2+4s at the initial start. Didn't know you were going to get that third one. You know, there's sometimes you end up getting ammunition like that, and you just get a sense before the first card's even played that you probably are going to be in control of this game and able to take this thing up 3-1. Did you have that sense there? Or were there a couple of points of this game where you were wondering, do I need to play this +4 maybe a little bit more defensively and make sure that I establish the possession game, or were you very comfortable holding on to them there at the end? And Radin, yeah, I was just going to say that's the second time you've done the +2 and it's come back to bite you back in game 1, or game 2 technically. We ended up seeing you do the +2 and you end up getting a +4 out of it, another +2 and a +4 on the other side on the return. How difficult is it right now in the fact that you, of course, are trying to establish the possession, you're trying to draw background away from that proverbial end zone, but at the same time, while you play the offensive card, you're not necessarily certain what cards you're giving him on that return?
Hmm. Ren says, not plus twoing anymore unless necessary. Does this imply that he was unnecessarily throwing plus twos around
I don't
before,
know.
with no real strategy? I don't know. We might see an adjustment from Radin as he tries to mount a comeback.
Well, I kind of feel like at least that 1+2 that he played, I believe it was the green +2. I think he played a double to finish out his color in green because we then saw him iced out on
Mm.
green on the very next play. It's interesting because, and I'll talk about this a little bit since I believe background, he said he gave us a warning he'd be AFK for a bit for dinner, and I think he's currently doing that. I've had to kind of adapt my strategy in this regard as well. I've done the same thing where I'll have a reverse, I'll have a skip, I'll have a +2, and then I'll have a final card in that color, and I'll play it to be able to completely empty myself of that said color. And I've seen where other players have actually, they'll play, in the case of that +2 to the green 4, they'll play the green 4, they won't play the +2. They'll save that and draw if necessary, so that way they have a path to be able to do maybe a double stack with the +2 and light switch over to another color. And I think that's something that maybe, both players and other players in this series, in this tournament as well, kind of have to also adapt into their strategy, because the thought process is you want to get down maybe to just one color with your cards, two colors with your cards. But at the same time, when you've got those ammo cards, you might want to hold on to them to be able to utilize them not only offensively, but also for a path to that other color. And I think that was kind of maybe a case right there. And I've been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it in the past as well and had to adapt my strategy accordingly.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Sometimes it's just easy to throw that +2 in response to a card being played, where you're like, oh man, they did that. I'm gonna get two cards on them. I'm gonna even it up. But sometimes being patient really pays off. But hey, we'll see how Rowden responds next game. He's still got another home field start, but he is behind.
He is indeed behind 3-1. Background is back. Yeah, the only question I had for you there, background, was you said you started out with the 2+4s, and a lot of times when you end up having ammunition like that to work with, before the first card's even played, you can kind of get a sense that you're going to be able to control this game. Was that the case here for you? Were there a couple of moments in that game where you thought, maybe I might have to use one of these +4 defensively? Because ideally, you'd love to be able to use those +4s offensively. Was that at any point in jeopardy, or did you feel firmly in control of this one? And we saw Radin say he now learns that the +2s are traitors unless you're doing good. Might be
Gotta
that might be
say,
a
background really.
that might be a new nickname that we'll
I
call
was
it when we end up seeing a bad return on a +2. We'll call them traitor +2s.
traded +2s. Absolutely. I gotta say, background really finished his dinner in a record amount of time.
Either he finished his dinner or he brought it in with him, one or the other.
Oh, true, true. Maybe a little eating and Uno at the same
Eating as
time.
he
Hey,
plays. There
I'm
you go.
guilty of it.
Oh, me too. Me too. Uh, Radin's when Radin started drawing on blue, became less concerned. So yeah, we talk about the establishing of the color dominance, and we saw it right there when Radin was iced out. Background able to pretty much control with a lot of the light switches there, get to the colors he needed, and of course have those +4s at the end. Added on that third one on the return of the +2. Radin's typing right now. I don't know if he's, there we go. Sometimes his hands look like a tower. All right, well, Radin, you're down 3-1. Crucial game 5 coming up here, but you still have home field advantage. The floor is open outside of 8. What are we going for here? Okay, we're going back down to the single digits. Interesting. Going to 9, and is this maybe a defensive play on Radin's side of saying, I don't want to go in those double digits and give the opportunity for background to have multiple +4s again?
Well, the 8 card star worked out for him, so maybe just go one up and maybe that'll work too. Why not? Let's try it out, and I'm just gonna roll with red so far.
So this is, in a sense, the game that could take the series if your background up 3-1. To stay alive, Radin has to win this game. No.
Well, can't help it.
Radin in a must-win situation here to keep this series going. Winner of this matchup moves on to face Mac Johnson. Background.
Background's still got that power play too.
Yes, he does. Good call. Iced out in red is Radin. Background going to be able to continue to run in the red. And now Radin with the light switch gets it over to green.
He gets that first switch. I was almost expecting it out of background, but he gets iced out on green right away. We'll see how Radin can use this to his advantage here early into this one.
So there you go. Both of them know a color that the other is out of. Background out of green, Radin out of red. Do we see either one of them utilize that here later on in this match? Now it's a question of how long can Radin run here in this color before maybe an eventual bailout. We've seen background bail Radin out quite a number of times with the light switches when he's iced out. We'll see at what point does Radin have to kind of open the door to get over to a color of his own.
Yeah, and he's still rolling with the greens here. Seems like he's pretty strong on the greens here. We'll see. Maybe background has. He's going to try and get some number efficiency going here on the 6. And oh, he's actually got some ammo here.
Leaves it open. Skip into the draw. What does Radin do with this? Does he have a skip for a color swap? Does he play it cool and remain in green? He'll do a double play in green.
Oh.
Actually, no, that's a trips play, I'm sorry, in green. Double reverse into the 9.
That gets him down to 2 cards here.
It does. There's the swap. Over to
Is that
blue.
risky, though? We haven't seen blue yet. That could be risky. But it could be good for Radin.
Does Radin get to check? Does he maybe have a finish here? Could he have a +4 waiting in the wings? The Jumanji music. Oh! Number efficiency to the yellow.
Well, this is not a new position for background. He switched the color before, and it didn't work out, but he doesn't switch it here. And does Radin have yellow? Does he have it?
Yes, he does! A must-win game 5. Radin gets it done, draws it 3-2. Radin, great job there on the number efficiency, able to establish for a long time there in green. Got bailed out there with the number efficiency, bringing it over to blue, and then having the cards there at the end to be able to close this thing out in the yellow. We mentioned it, crucial game 5. You had to win this one. Didn't really have a whole lot of ammo to be able to utilize, at least not offensive ammo, able to utilize chains and get your hand whittled down there. You've been doing very well in terms of the light switches and the number efficiency here to be able to win these couple of games. At some point, are you comfortable with this? Are you comfortable with the number efficiency, or are we looking for that ammunition there for this upcoming final couple of games if you're able to draw this into a Game 7? And background showing us what he had left there. Ditto red 1, red skip, a couple of yellows and a blue reverse. So not a whole lot of opportunity for some chains there, especially with the fact that we didn't run in yellow until the very end. So background, obviously, you still have that power play available. You were able, in a way, to give up a game here, having that power play still in your hip pocket, but now how much do we start to consider that power play here going from Game 5 into Game 6? How important is it to still have that available to fire out if necessary?
Background's going to have that home field advantage here going into this next game as well, which might be helpful.
That is true. Yeah, background says it's going to be very, very useful. Radin said green saved his life, and he might start using organic stuff now. Well, it's worked out for him in winning both Game 3 and Game 5. He hasn't had to necessarily rely on that hard-hitting ammunition to get these victories, so we'll see. We could very easily be looking at a final Game 7 here if Radin is able to take this upcoming Game 6. But as you said, Ed, ball is now in the court. Home field advantage for background. Background, you can't do 7, you can't do 11, so no Slurpee. But what are we going for here in a pivotal Game 6? There you go. There's the 7-11.
Full send.
Oh, man.
I wasn't expecting it, honestly. I thought I might go with
No.
something low, but hey, why not,
There's the GIF. Cesar coming in clutch with that. Full send it. Here we go. 15 cards each. Must-win game here for Radin to send it into Game 7. A victory here completes the series for background. We begin in yellow. I believe this is the third game that we've had where we have started with the color we finished the previous game with.
Interesting. We'll see. Maybe we'll be back to that yellow at the very end of this game. But the pattern so far today has been background, Radin. So if the pattern holds up, background would win this game. So it's up to Radin to break that pattern.
Radin says he started with the exact same card that he finished the last game with.
Oh. Okay, background getting a little early aggressive here with that switch. He's not done yet. He's gonna leave that blue 1 open for Radin.
Trips play into the blue. Establishes the possession at least there. And Radin says we're going to green.
See, I don't know if background is expecting that. I think he wanted to go roll with the blue a little bit longer, but Radin hopes the ice is cold. Let's find out.
Background goes 1 up.
Rolling with the green. Doesn't mind the switch, at least for now.
Saw a couple of early shots there with the double reverse from background. Gotta wonder what's in reserve, what's on the side of Radin. We haven't seen him play any ammunition cards as of yet. He swaps it over into red. You're good, background, no problem. We don't have our next game coming up here until 3 o'clock when Vapor takes on M. That'll be right here on the MRE UNO YouTube channel.
Rolling with the red again. Seeing a lot of switching more from Radin in these last 2 games rather than background, who had been switching earlier in this series.
And it's interesting, too, because when you're in these must-win situation games, you'll see the player that's down maybe play a little bit more defensively. That's not been the case here for Radin. He's been pedal to the metal here in this 6th game, despite the fact he doesn't even have the possession right now in terms of cards. But he's not lifting off the throttle. He's keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, and background applies the pressure here to blue, which Radin had switched off before, but Radin's going to roll with it for now.
Both going to continue to run in blue. We're now down to single-digit cards on each side. 6 for background. Radin trying to get down to 8, which he'll do.
Keeping it cool, calm, and collected right now with the blue. Background with that power play in his back pocket, as I just
Oh,
mentioned it.
right
Jesus.
on the call. Power play
This-
with
this-
6 cards left. Does he have a finish?
Yeah, gotta think he has a finish.
Yeah. Power play can be that missing link in the chain if he's just missing that one card. Trip skip. 1 in blue, ditto in yellow. Another skip into green. To get to check, he'll get to check with the green 8. Final card to close this out. Green 3, series done. Background is moving on to face Mac Johnson in an incredible finish here. He's had a couple of incredible finishes. Had the 3+4s there to close out that game 3, or technically game 4, and then a quad skip in a 6-bag finish with the power play link to close out game number 6.
What a great finish there. I mean, I was wondering when we would see that power play, and I kind of willed it into existence there, and it was just a little earlier than I thought it would be. But hey, he made it work, and he's gonna take this.
Had 4 skips, 2 reverses in his starting hand. We saw the double play with the reverses, held onto those skips for the very, very end, and that was in his initial starting hand. I believe that Radin has left the watch party chat, but background, I'll ask you. I mean, we talk about all the different aspects of Uno, and one of them coming to play here was patience. You had those 4 skips. You could have used them beginning of the game to establish possession. You could have used them middle of the game to establish possession. But the patience to hold onto them to the very end. Of course, as well, having that power play to be able to link the chain together if necessary, giving you a little bit of levity there as well. But you made the call for full send. Ed was a little surprised. I was too. That we maybe didn't see the full send if we ended up going into a Game 7. You decided to use it here in Game 6 and got the ammo return that you needed on the initial draw. We had you say that you were going to always go Classic 7 at the beginning of this game. When you're down there with that final game on the line to get that 4th win with this home field advantage, is this something we're going to see going forward as well, that we're always going to have that full send when you're at 3 wins? And we mentioned about background and what he was able to do down in D2, making him eligible for the advancement up here into D1. Had some incredible games back in T2. Took Cesar to the limit. Came up just short in a 4-3. I remember that game. That was very back and forth. And able to advance here in the Slapstick 64. Now going to be facing off against Mac Johnson. 15 is the scariest card count with a power play advantage. You never know when the opponent has a 2-turn win. So, yeah, so I guess that kind of answers that question there, Ed. When you have the power play available, you get a little bit more confidence to be able to go for that full send.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was feeling good. The low card starts we're going okay for him, but I think he threw up Radin off his game there too a little bit with that 15 card start.
And Red brought up a good question there in the chat as well, where he asked what Radin would have done if he had gotten to play this normally at a starting 0-0. Obviously on the back foot, down 1-0 before we even played the first card, and that could have changed up the strategy during the course of this series as well. Background firmly in the driver's seat and able to close this one out. Well done there to background. He's going to be moving on, as we'll show you. As we mentioned, the bracket here, background advances, going to be taking on Mac Johnson. That'll be a 7 versus 15 seed in Thriller 32. Winner of that will then go on to face off against the matchup that's already been established, 3 seed Lane Sanders against the 11 seed Hockey. So we'll be looking forward to that as we are getting close to wrapping up here this round of 64. And just a little over an hour's time will be our final streamed game, as we'll be heading over to the Soda region. Vapor going to be taking on M in a 2 versus 15 seed at 3 p.m. later on tonight. Unstreamed game is Stingray and Sean Aren't go head-to-head in the Popcorn region at 7:30. Well, a thriller here in this one. Makeup game did not disappoint. It is Background moving on as he takes a 4-2 series victory over Radin, and he will advance into the Thriller 32. Appreciate Ed joining me on commentary here this afternoon. I believe, Ed, we're gonna be dialing it back here when the 3 o'clock broadcast takes place. So looking forward to that. Appreciate Cesar doing the reffing duties here in this one. And thanks to everybody that tuned into the coverage here. We'll see you guys in a little over an hour's time for Vapor versus M as we continue on Movie May T3 here in the 2025 MRE UNO tournament.
This has been a presentation of MRE UNO Division 1.